That was quick. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of Kyoto by Night. This is a scene for the KbN video. We start our scene in the Myomonji Temple in the northern area of Kyoto. The one of Nest resides. We have an individual, two individuals actually, that have been summoned to visit the temple and meet with the ancestor, or in Japanese terms, the Sosin. One, Pate Yelko, a bone flower, and a thrashing dragon by the name of Katsu Hanasaki. The two are bidden to remain seating in a kneeling mats before two small tables, and then another table sitting in front of them with another mat or cushion behind it. They have been asked to come in appropriate attire. They have been asked to wait for the ancestor to arrive. We start our scene with the two making small talk as they were ushered in almost one right after the other, as the retainers of the temple make their rounds.
Hmm. So, good evening. Uh, I, okay. Hanasaki Katsu. Yourself?
Greetings, Hanasaki.
Thank you.
I am known as Pate Yaloko.
Okay.
I'm pleased to be welcomed to your land, as well as the court of your gracious ancestor.
Oh, thank you. Where do you hail from?
I lived my life in near Manila, but I have traveled a great deal since then. Yourself,
And
do you hail from Kyoto?
I hail from nearby town. Uh, the dojo I used to frequent was a bit too outside the city to for me to continue residence. So,
I,
how did you make your way to Japan?
well, I took my second breath within an area that was ruled by a court that was making it difficult for me to advance in the direction I needed to go. So I have traveled looking for scholars or areas that would be better suited for me to find enlightenment.
Hmm. Your dharmic path was not in uh, not appreciated by your homeland, I take it.
There are a few there are a few of us who are able to maintain focus. Yang is very prevalent within the jungles, and some of their practices were making it difficult for me to find enlightenment.
Ah. Hmm. Well, they say the most beautiful flower flowers in adversity, but if it's too adverse, there is no flower.
That is true. You need sunlight, but you also need darkness for the flower to grow. And yourself, are you finding it to your liking here in Kyoto?
Yes, I was able to build a little establishment so that I don't have to worry about too many mortal concerns and can focus on my dharmic path. You know, keeping up the appearance and such.
Yes, sometimes it is best to leave behind that which we once were, like a butterfly emerging from the cocoon.
Yeah, but you don't want to draw too much attention, or else the wasp will be attracted to your butterfly.
That too is true.
As the two continue to sit and talk, a young man, or youthful-looking man, makes his way forward towards the room. He's wearing a sort of teal hakama, or a teal haori, I should say, rather. And he makes his way into the room, opening the door, sliding one of the door frames away, and then the other, and then crouching beside it. He sort of comes down to one knee, and then bows graciously as a woman clad in a very formalized kimono steps forward. She has her white hair kind of flowing behind her as she steps forward. And he passes that she is definitely, more than likely, the Sosin of the court. And she sort of slows her pace slightly to as if she's waiting.
I bow my head in respectful reverence, as we were already kneeling, correct?
Yes.
I basically greet her as I assume I would greet my martial arts sensei, which would be bowing, correct?
Yes, a rather formalized bow, but yes.
Okay.
She makes her way to the pad and she sits down with an almost inhuman grace as she comes to rest upon the cushion. And she keeps her head, her eyes kind of gazed as she takes her hands to her lap in a very deliberate manner and sets them one over the top of the other. And she very slowly raises her eyes up to the two of you. Welcome. I am Sosen Kisarage Susume, the head of this court. I understand that you are two young disciples wishing to make your way here in Kyoto.
Yes, so
Yes. Thank you, Kisaragi-san, for allowing us to come into the temple here and meet with you, to accept us as part of your court.
She'll raise a brow slightly and then nod. It is good that we have young Kuei-jin making their way into our society. Our numbers have dwindled over the past few decades. We have been hard-pressed to find willing participants in our nightly functions, given our close proximity to the Hingyokai and the other dragon nests. I have to say that I commend you on your bravery. It's not often that ones as young as yourselves come this close to a potential and somewhat certain death at times. And she will look to Pate. You are a bone flower, as I have been told, correct?
That is correct.
Tell me, what is your area of specialty? What is it that you do well? If I were to place you into a position within this court, where would you be best suited? Where would you be best utilized?
Well, I have received tutelage in diplomacy, and in my travels prior to arriving at this court, I have been in areas that have had a lot of Western infestation, not just my homeland, but some of the others. And I have learned quite a bit about the foreign barbarians that encroach on our lands, and would be useful in any aspect that would require relaying messages or attempting to investigate or intercept any Western influence.
You've been lucky here in Kyoto. There has been no incursions from the Kinjin. These barbarians seem to be enlightened enough to not make their presence here. And it is just as well.
Other ancestors have not been able to maintain as good of control as you on their lands, so that is where I have picked up in my tutelage so far. But I am able to...
She closes her eyes a bit and kind of grins as she lowers her head towards him slightly. You need not cast aspersions. Okay. The reason that the king here is not from my presence. It is our neighbors to the south, east, and west. The Hingyokai have been the major deterrent from the western kindred from making incursions into this land. But I do appreciate your attempts to honor me with kind words.
Well, I have not had much dealings with the Yang creatures, but I am sure that with proper exposure, I would be able to master understanding of them as I have with the Kinjin.
enigmatic sort, but who beings can be. That is our Brant, you muted. Okay. Give me 1 second.
Who brought a baby to the apple?
Okay, how about that? How's that sound?
Much better.
Okay. Don't know what was happening there. That was kind of a hiccup. What did you guys last get from my end?
Um,
Nothing, huh?
yeah. No, sorry.
Okay. Kisaragi had basically just stated that, obviously, I think the part that Pate was able to discern was that the kindred, the Western kindred, were not really able to come here, not because of her, but rather the shapeshifters.
Yeah.
And she basically informed Pate that they are not they're not wholly unreasonable, and if you adhere to codes of etiquette, they are actually quite reasonable, but not to push them. She further went on to say that given time and training, that Pate could fulfill a diplomatic role as an emissary to them. Given time, obviously.
Yes.
She will turn to Katsu and look to him for a moment. Hanasaki-san, you are a native of this land. I am glad to see that you are indeed dressed for the occasion.
He bows and says, "Thank you, Sozin-san."
There was a young devil tiger that I met with earlier this evening who told me a bit about you. She fulfilled her role in getting to know you a bit better. Of course, she
Yeah.
was not quite as well dressed as you. But inform me, what did you gather from your encounter with her?
Well, unlike some devil tigers, she seems very good at talking, and she's also good at some subtlety. She also is quite talented, has a very talented right hook.
She does indeed. You are a martial artist, as I understand, by trade.
Um, yes, although after last night, I feel a little wary of saying so, but yes, I have trained and
I
such.
see. If you were to take away any lesson from last night, what would you take away from it?
Do not underestimate anyone, and also do not begrudge an offer to strike first.
Yeah, she told me that you attempted to remain at arm's length, and I believe she used the term honorable, though she said it with some condescending tone, as though she didn't approve of your method.
I will agree that to some degree she seemed a little young. I don't like to fight those too young, but then again, I should have understood that because she's Quajin, she could have been much older than myself.
She will nod at this and smile. When you look at me, Hanasaki-san, you look and see the image of a younger woman. Without knowing any pretense of who I am, would you have hesitated in the same manner as you did for her?
Honestly, no. She was a lot, well, she was just 18, 19. You seem a little bit more in your 21st, 22nd year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, after someone passes the age of 20, I'm not so hesitant. But still, I will take it from the lesson. Any uh, fight given should be met with full honor and no begrudging.
I would warn you that hesitating in a situation where you know that there is a fight coming will get you killed in this prefecture. I can tell you that there is a rather youthful, unassuming shapeshifter just south of us in the Imperial Castle. And I can tell you, everything that I have heard about her would make you believe that she is nearly a living god in terms of power. If you were to see her, you would more than likely see her in the same light as Little Fu. And you would be an afterthought for her after she likely destroyed you. And the same can be said to about areas further south. There are those down there in the south end of Kyoto City proper that are dangerous beyond words. Even there, even I do not venture to tread there. I hope that you understand now that in a situation where you may have to throw a punch or strike with a weapon, do so quickly and without hesitation. Your temperance should be what keeps you from getting in a conflict in the first place, but do not let it hold you back once you have entered into it.
Very good, So-san. Or So-san.
Now you are a thrashing dragon, as I understand it.
Yes.
I do have a task for you, and feel free to take your fellow here, Yoloko-san. The two of you should endeavor over the next few evenings to find good vessels for extracting chi. As you are well aware, having a good following of those that are willing donors is ideal and preferred in this court. I will not forbade you from exercising your lower instincts to hunt, but at the same time, I would appreciate it if each of you were to cultivate a herd of your own. As a thrashing dragon, you are particularly close, and I do believe that a Song of Shadow would do well to see how the other side lives.
Very good. Do you have a preferred chi I should try and find?
I will let you judge what you should acquire. It will be a good test to see what ratio of one you find to the other.
Very good.
And with that, she sits up rather rigidly. Well then, I believe there is nothing else that I have for you for this evening. Do you have any questions before we part ways? And Jake,
Um,
you're muted at the moment. Should be a little microphone icon somewhere at the bottom of your display.
at the top.
Not sure. I've never used Google Hangouts on an iPad before.
He seems almost frozen.
No, he's not frozen. He's definitely moving. I just can't. He has to unmute himself.
Uh,
You can also reload the Hangout.
it,
I mean, he can, but you can. He doesn't have a chat thing in there. I don't believe either. Jake, close out the icon and then just come back in. Probably the easiest thing to do.
oh, you can do that. It should be right next to that.
Yeah, you just turned off your camera. There should be another button for microphone. Right near that button you just pressed. Ah, the wonders of technology.
um,
Well, that's okay. We'll carry on.
yeah.
I'm sure that he would have accepted this graciously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Ha, uh, Hanasaki will bow his head again and ask, would there be any other crashing dragons in your court that I might learn from?
We will see if you are up to the task first. I will not make available any of my retainers or fellows until you are proven. After such time, I believe with this first task, you will be introduced to kind. But for now, Simply do as I have asked, and show me your skill and your closeness to humanity.
Very well.
Hey, we got it back.
Finally. It wasn't like it was telling me it was unmuted, but it still was muted, so I finally got it.
Sometimes time is the ultimate tool.
Yeah. Yes, I graciously accept the challenge to cultivate a herd within Kyoto.
Very good. Very good. As for some of our standing mandates here in this court, it is punishable by a final death to actively seek out and engage the Hingyokai. We attempt as best we can to remain out of their borders, and I will make sure that you are given proper instruction to where these borders are. However, should you encounter any of these changers, I would highly recommend that you remain polite and restrained. If they do attack you for whatever reason, I would highly recommend that you act as you feel is appropriate. But, as in the Western saying, discretion is sometimes the better part of valor. These creatures are savage, and they can deal out a great deal more punishment and take a great deal more punishment than you are probably capable of at this point. Even I would be hard-pressed to advance on their younger individuals. We refer to this as the mandate of ebbing waters, and I will hold you both accountable to it.
But of course.
I have no wish to engage these shape changers unless by your will.
Very good. And she will bow slightly and stand. And the young man who sits at the frame of the door, his eye, you can almost see it turning towards you to see if you are going to bow as she stands.
And I do bow deeply as would be appropriate.
As do I.
She doesn't say anything more at that point. She simply just very, very gracefully walks out of the room. And the retainer slides the door shut behind her as he disappears behind the screen as well. And you two are left by your lonesome.
All right. So, Hanasaki-san, what are you aware of any existing areas claimed by other members of the court that we should avoid for cultivating our herds?
No, but given that herds in and of themselves are sort of willing subjects, they can move, but as a good rule of thumb, if you see another Krajan, ask before you take a bite, as it were.
Obviously, yeah.
But, yeah, I'm not I guess, since you're, I guess, since you're going to be, my, assistant, observer, a, maybe I should look for some yin chi for you to give you a demonstration.
Well, I am currently not in a state where I would need to harvest chi immediately. I think we should look for areas in the city that we could build up a pattern in being able to get individuals that would be easy to feed on, especially since we presumably will need to imbibe still the physical essence of chi without being able to simply gather it from being near them.
True. Al- Although I am glad I no longer have to eat the flesh to imbibe this chi.
I understand that that practice is frowned upon in these areas, so I would not think that would be something to do either.
True. It's just before you advance on your dharmic path, uh, that is a practice that you sort of have to use uh, before you take your first step, so as it were. Anyway, I'm kind of losing myself, but you have a suggestion?
I do. I think a common group of individuals that would be easier to harvest obviously would be those who are immature and a little bit more wild and carefree with how they spend their evenings, which would be easier for us to gather from on a regular basis.
Yes.
Um, are you familiar with any areas that would be frequented by the youth of the city?
Uh, Vinny, I assume as a tiger, or not thrashing tiger, thrashing dragon. I know one or two such places.
I would say that if you didn't know them already, you'd probably have a pretty easy time of finding it. But you could easily find those sort of places by just asking around.
Okay. Well, let's take a walk out and see if we can ask around. Because I have only been here maybe 2 weeks and haven't had the much need to go out and have frivolity. I have had a med- meditative state for the last few days.
So I, yeah, kind of gathered from the conversation. Well, let's head out and see. I have some experience from a previous life in being able to find where the best spots in the city are. So let's see if my instincts will assist us in that manner too.
Very good. Um, so, Vinny, you want to make some sort of roll or?
Now, this is a scene that you guys can do on your own at your leisure.
Okay.
Okay.
So we'll head out, and as a mortal, I was quite a party animal, so I think I could probably spot some good nightclubs in the city. But with my Poe nature, Vinny, I might be risking Shadow Soul as my Poe wants to drag me back into my reliving my mortal life.
Okay. Well then, we will get you guys in a guided scene then later this week. But
Okay.
you guys are free to make your leave from the temple.
Okay.
All right,
And we'll go.
we will take our leaves.
Okay. Thank you everybody for watching, and we hope to see you again soon.